Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Health Minister expresses concern over this country's growing obesity world ranking. The Prime Minister extends greetings to the nation as the country prepares to celebrate Indian Arrival Day. And Cabinet agrees on the expansion of the Caroni Green Initiative to aid farmers in the provision of their expertise in exchange for financing. Thank you for joining us. The obesity rate in Trinidad and Tobago is very high, says Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan. The minister addressed the issue at today's post-cabinet media briefing, stating that the country was bordering on an epidemic as the number 5 obese country in the world.
Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan, Minister of Health, says Trinidad and Tobago continues to go down a slippery slope when it comes to the issue of health. One of the main areas of concern is the rise in cases of heart diseases and overall obesity-related health issues. In February this year, a study published by the University of the West Indies on overweight children showed findings of a high risk of development of diabetes and hypertension among younger children. That study showed that children of this country were becoming more obese than the children in the United States. At Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing at the Diplomatic Center St. Anne's, the Honorable Minister of Health stated that obesity figures were getting worse in both adults and children in Trinidad and Tobago. He said this was due to bad eating habits over the years.
We looked at the full gamut of the public health system and came to realize that as a result of the non-communicable diseases and their complications and the epidemic that we are experiencing in Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide, our volume of patients entering the public health system has been increasing over the years. And we have attributed that to the poor eating habits as well as 20 to 25 years of sedentary lifestyles, increase in sugar intake, increase in salt intake, increase in fat intake, and as well as a combination of processed foods and the deleterious effects of the processed foods.
The minister listed some of the health issues on the rise in Trinidad and Tobago.
There has been an increase in the cardiac patients, increase in kidney patients, increase in retinal patients, as well as high level of obesity over the population. We have also been told that we are approximately 5th in the world in obesity, and that is considered an obesity epidemic.
Meantime, as a result of this increase, health centers around the country are becoming overly populated, and patients have in turn been experiencing prolonged waiting periods. This, the minister said, is being addressed through a recently launched government program, the External Patient Program.
This program came about as a result of problems that were occurring in the health sector that I acknowledge fully. One, the long waiting times that our patients are experiencing at the clinics, long waiting times for CT scans and their reports and MRI scans and their reports, long waiting times for pathology specimen reports, slide reports, long waiting times for our elderly populations for hip and knee surgery. We've also looked at the possibility of, which was the initial one, of cataract surgeries, because we do realize that there's a backlog that has been touted about 3,500 cataracts to be done.
Felicia Wilson, Mon News 4.
The Caroni Green Initiative continues to be a viable avenue for farmers and former Caroni workers to assist in lowering the nation's food import bill while earning a living. On Thursday, the Cabinet announced that it would assist ensuring that Caroni Green Limited is able to fulfill its mandate.
The government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is aggressively pursuing its mandate to reduce the food import bill and ensure food production is sustainable in Trinidad and Tobago. During Thursday's post-cabinet news briefing, Minister of Food Production, Senator the Honorable Deepan Maharaj, reiterated some of the many successful initiatives of the government in the agriculture sector and highlighted a number of other developments under his ministry. He revealed that one such program is the Caroni Green Initiative, which the cabinet has agreed to further invest in.
The initiative of Caroni Green was launched in June 2013 and was geared towards increasing the supply of safe, healthy, fresh and locally produced food. Caroni Green brought into production over 5,000 acres of former Caroni lands, comprising mainly of the 2-acre agricultural plot leased to the former workers as part of their 2003 voluntary separation package under sustainable and profitable cultivation on a phased basis. In December 2013, the government established a new state enterprise called Caroni Green Limited, which was responsible for the implementation of the Green Initiative. Caroni Green Limited mandate is to bring idle or underutilized agricultural land into active agricultural production. And today, Cabinet agreed to provide a one-off grant in the sum of $22 million to Caroni Green Limited to assist the company in implementing its planned production activities over the period May to September 2013.
Under the initiative, plot recipients will allow Caroni 1975 Limited the use of their land in exchange for guaranteed payment and earnings. Private farmers will provide expertise and labor, and in return, through Caroni 1975 Limited, they will obtain financing from the Agricultural Development Bank. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
News 4 continues right after the break. Stay with us. As Trinidad and Tobago celebrates the 169th anniversary of the arrival of the East Indian people to this country, the Honorable Prime Minister believes citizens must adopt some of the practices used by our ancestors, or that should be by our ancestors, in dealing with the issues affecting today's society.
Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad Bissessar SC believes as a nation we have a lot to learn from our past and the contributions of our ancestors. On Wednesday, the Honorable Prime Minister delivered her annual Indian Arrival Day message in the Parliament on the occasion of the 169th anniversary of Indian arrival. Donned in her traditional East Indian apparel, Mrs. Persad Bissessar noted the significance of the day to citizens of this country.
The fact that this annual observance of Indian Arrival Day has consistently grown larger with each passing year is testimony to the belief that there is much to celebrate, as well as to preserve and indeed to share and be grateful for. For many, it is a day of reflection and understanding, where the ancestors of thousands of our citizens came from. For some, it is a day of appreciation and understanding, when we look deeply at the origins of such a rich culture of which you spoke, which has blended into the national landscape as something that is now total Trinidad and Tobago. For others still, it is a day of thanksgiving, whether by reflection or appreciation, that those who came and made the first steps in a new land built and left a legacy that each and every citizen of our country can be proud of.
According to the Prime Minister, on Indian Arrival Day, it is expected that many will speak of the history of the arrival of East Indians in Trinidad and Tobago. She said we reflect on the perilous journey which our ancestors made over the dark Atlantic waters, the Kalapani, to arrive at a place of which they knew little, but with hopes in their hearts for a better life. As a people who were deeply community-oriented, accustomed only to the faces, people and names that they knew, the journey would have been made even more intimidating, now being forced to either join hands with persons they never met or stand alone and unsure of the future. The Prime Minister noted that more than the journey, the anxiety and the fear of the unknown, what is best remembered is what they did in order to hold their lives together and walk a new path on new ground with determination.
All these people, Mr. Speaker, through all of the centuries past, had to bear such tremendous trials and had to defy limits they never knew they possessed. And so we do every year, as we do now, by commemorating all the people who came and showcasing the traditions we inherited and the society they taught us to build. And this is why it is so important. This is why on the 30th of May every year, we shine a light on the descendants of East Indians, recognizing their very strong contribution to building the Trinidad and Tobago that we, all of us, will give our lives to defend.
The Prime Minister recognized that to address many of the challenges we face today as a modern society, we can find solutions in the wisdom of our elders and ancestors by traditions passed down through centuries. She said we must always take heed of the wisdom that elders passed on to us and use that wisdom to inform our daily lives and truly secure the moral compass we will in turn pass on to future generations.
By shining a light on the past, paying homage to ancestral journeys, that is how we created the nation we know today. And these are the things that we are really appreciating. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to wish all of us here in this hallowed chamber and to wish the national community happy Indian Arrival.
Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
The National Self-Help Commission took to the Princestown Regional Corporation this week to provide grants for those in need of repairing their homes. Local Government Minister Marlene Coudray, line minister for the NSHC, says she is currently looking into expanding the program.
Local Government Minister Marlene Coudray says she intends to expand the budget for the National Commission for Self-Help. The minister was speaking at the distribution ceremony of minor repairs reconstruction grants in Princestown.
I have been mandated to find $12 million, Mr. Chairman, and I've approached the Minister of Finance so that we can increase the home construction and the grants to our citizens, and I intend to do so before the end of this financial year, and incrementally to have the said sum with incremental increases put into the budget of the National Commission for Self-Help Limited.
Chairman of the Commission, Suraj Mangru, says while the Commission is there to assist in improving lives, the grants given were to be put to use in the right manner.
I want to remind you all that the Commission is not a handout entity, as this was not the case when it was established. We have a legislative mandate to help anyone whose case borders on great humanitarian needs. The smiling faces of the recipients, you the recipients here, demonstrate that the Commission aims to help you rebuild or to recalibrate their lives, your lives, and move on. This is not the end of your lives, but rather it will serve as a motivation to step out in the brave and bright world outside.
He adds that since 2010, the Commission has assisted in communities across the nation, affecting some over 100,000 lives.
Over the last 4 years or so, we have been able to touch at an average 100,000 lives by extension, by means of our self-help grant, our ERA grant, and of course our community project. For a small state agency with limited resources to reach out to so many people, that's a remarkable achievement for myself and for my team players.
Meanwhile, Sherry-Ann Graham, one of the recipients present at the ceremony, expressed her gratitude in receiving the grant.
I am very thankful that my word did not fall on the ground and at least someone hear my cry. So I thank you very much to you and everyone.
Under the program, a maximum funding of $10,000 is provided for the repair work, while the labor component is to be sourced or provided by the applicant. Kimberly Calloway, News 4.
News 4 continues right after this. The Police Football Club participated in their first final for some 18 years last Friday when they took on W Connection in the TT Pro League's Pro Bowl. The Lawmen lost that encounter, but there's much to look forward to for them following the 2013-2014 season. Wayne Cunningham spoke to coach Richard Hood about his team's showing.
Police FC lost 3-0 to W Connection in the Pro Bowl final, but it was by no means a demoralizing performance. Coach Richard Hood gave his thoughts on what caused them the match.
We had a good chat during the halftime interval. We spoke about the things that we wanted to do, the things that we did well, things that we could have done better, and how we were going to approach the second half. Right? And the last thing I said to them is something that has plagued us throughout the season. We come back out in the second half and we start very slowly. You know, we are cold. right? And I told them that this is a dangerous time for us. We need to go out there, get ourselves ready to play again and refocus. And I think we failed to do that.
Although this has been one of the best seasons in recent times for the lawmen, the coach is not fully satisfied.
I thought we had rather an up and down season. We had some high moments. We were playing well, and going into the carnival period, we experienced a period there for 9 days where we didn't train. Right? We were not allowed to train to deal with carnival duties, and we had to play. Carnival duties finished the Thursday because we had to go Maracas, etc., and deal with stuff like that. And Friday we had to play, and then we had to play the Tuesday after that again, and we lost it from there. We would take a lot of positives out of this, and hopefully we can build on it. I have had meetings with my management, and we've talked about some of the issues that I've spoken about, some other disciplinary issues as well, because there are a lot of players that are no longer on the team at the moment because of disciplinary issues. And these players could have helped us at this stage anyway. But we want to look at correcting these things into the next season, and I expect for the first time since I've been here, we'd actually have a pre-season, and we will be much stronger next year.
Coach Hood is hoping the performance this season will encourage the powers that be to accept some of his recommendations regarding team preparation.
We had a meeting with the management there, and we identified the areas that we need to get better at. One of course is finding means where carnival and other periods that does not affect the team. I don't know how successful it will be because it is up to the commissioner. All right. I don't know, however, that if it take 35 people away from duties, that will make a difference to carnival. I don't know.
Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Much more right after this. Football fans are invited to tune into TV4 on June 4th to view the friendly international between Trinidad and Tobago and Argentina. The strategic move came after the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association and the Government Information Services Limited signed an agreement to bring the historical match live.
The Government Information Services Limited has signed an agreement with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, which will see the broadcasting on Channel 4 of the pre-World Cup friendly between Trinidad and Tobago and Argentina. The match, which will take place on June 4th in Buenos Aires, Argentina, is part of the final warm-up preparations for Argentina before the team heads to Brazil for the 2014 World Cup. On Friday, the agreement was signed between Chief Executive Officer of GISL, Andy Johnson, and General Secretary of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, Sheldon Phillip.
Well, really is a first-time collaboration where the GISL has agreed to televise live our match against the Argentinian national team featuring Lionel Messi. This is a pre-World Cup match, warm-up match basically for Argentina, who's currently ranked third in the FIFA rankings, and they're one of the odds-on favorites to win the World Cup. So it's a massive, opportunity for GISL to bring a sports fan base to its station, and we're thrilled about the partnership and the opportunity to work together.
GISL's CEO spoke of the importance of promoting local sports teams and the significance of the agreement in GISL's fulfillment of the government's mandate.
We tend to, we support national teams in peaks and troughs. So when they're doing well, we're with them. When they're doing not so well, the supporters had to come by. And what our efforts have been was to try and keep the focus on our teams, regardless of the situation, the fortunes from game to game, from tournament to tournament, from it's a campaign to campaign. And behind that, of course, is the fact that the government of Trinidad and Tobago, has maintained a great commitment financially and otherwise in national athletes. There's one program called the Elite Athletes Program that's particularly for people in track and field, but the government also supports sporting and sporting development, sports and sporting development generally. And this is our way of saying that on the basis of that, we, as a government news agency, a government media agency, we wanted to be able to be there to demonstrate that commitment by our continuing focus on national teams of one kind or another. And this agreement is, I would say, taking us to a different level of cooperation and collaboration with a major sporting organization such as the TTFA.
The CEO went on to thank senior sports editor Wayne Cunningham for his efforts in seeing the agreement come to fruition, as well as his larger strides in gaining interest and local buy-in when it comes to local sports teams.
I want to pay or give some congratulations to Wayne Cunningham, because he came on board here to up our game, as it were, with sports coverage, and he has been an advocate for national teams in all the disciplines of sport that we can think about, to trying to get some focus on them and some commitment generally in the media for how we treat with national teams and with national athletes. And this is, I would say, a step up in his efforts, in his continuing efforts on the football front particularly. And I want to congratulate the TTFA, the newly rearranged TTFA, and certainly Sheldon, for this partnership with us, because again it says that they recognize that we can make a contribution. We have been making a contribution to help the question you put to him a while ago about the position with fans and the game as such, to keep Trinidad and Tobago's football in the eyes and the ears of a public that will support efforts of the national team.
Meanwhile, national senior men's team head coach Stephen Hart has described the first few days of preparations ahead of the friendly international against Argentina as satisfying. The team is expected to depart Trinidad and Tobago on June 1st on a full chartered flight facilitated by the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Sport. Nikolai Edwards, News 4 Sports.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. Now you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/RTV4. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.